Right, welcome back. It's John McLaughlin. We are doing another Crossfire strategy session on the Forex pairs. Do me a favour, if this is the first time you visit the channel, just do me a favour and hit that subscribe button just down there. And if you get some value from this, give us a thumbs up as well. Before we start, I'll also say, if you look at the card up there, click on that. You'll also get access to my mini course telling you everything about this strategy. And it is very simple and straightforward once you know what you're actually doing. Right, so let's just put that back up there. Right, so on the charts we've got Euro CAD, Euro USD, GBP CAD, and GBP USD, 4 pairs. Have a quick look at the news. Okay, so at 1400 we've got low impact news from the US dollar, medium impact news, and news all the way up to pretty much dinner time or late afternoon, 1600. Then we've got news on the CAD. So we're going to maybe see a bit of volatility today. Okay, it is Thursday, so it's a good day to trade. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to go to the 15-minute time frame, and we're going to put on our trend lines. So I'm going to take off everything right now so we can see what we're doing. There we go. Right, so first thing I like to do is put the vertical line on the 1300. Next thing, put a couple of trend lines on in readiness for 1315. Okay, so we'll make the bottom one red, and yeah, we'll just leave it on for now. Okay, so Euro USD, same sort of thing. What you can see here is all the different imbalance that was on. That's all been mitigated. So I'm just going to take off those. Put a line on here. There we go, and a couple of trend lines. And we'll change that one to green. So GBP CAD. Take off the indicators. Put out. Why is that moved? I'll put that on the 13. Oh, I need it on 15 minutes. Let's go and check that was on 15 minutes as well. No, it isn't. 15-minute time frame. Let's see how ridiculously small these are now. There we go. Right, GBP CAD will take off that previous area of imbalance, and we'll take off this area of interest as well. Okay, right, lines on. So we'll change this one for red. Last one is GU. Take off the indicators. Vertical line. I always like to put the vertical line on the 1300, just to kind of highlight it. And I say I'm quite visual, so it's always good if you're quite visual. Just do whatever is easier for you. A lot of people trade in different ways. There's no right and wrong way. If you're winning trades, that's the name of the game. Right, so in terms of this strategy, it's really simple. At least it's fairly simple if you go through the course. The principle is that we're looking at these 4 pairs, and we're looking for price to go above the green trend line for a potential buy and below the red trend line for potential sells. I'm going to show you how I'll put these on in a second at 1315. The other thing we've got going on for us is we've got the straightforward Forex indicator. This is a bespoke indicator that's been custom made for us. And if you want to, if Forex is your thing, if you're kind of going around thinking, I really want to learn Forex, but I don't know who to turn to, and I'm kind of sick of all the nonsense online, because let's face it, everyone's talking about Forex, and you've got little kids, sort of look like they're 13 years old saying it's really easy and look how much money I've made. And sometimes us older people get a bit frustrated with that. I know I first did when I first started doing Forex, and it was like, how do these people even know what Forex is? They're not even shaving yet. So if you want to know about it, if you go into the description below, you'll see a lot of the links, and you'll see how you can join us with our community. And essentially, we're all like-minded people who know about trading, and we get together in a safe, comfortable environment, and we trade together, and we learn together. And that's the only way I learned to trade, was doing it with a community, with a coach who knows what they're doing. And the only reason I'm doing this video now is because I learned that way. Okay, and it was so straightforward for me. For someone that really struggles with maths, he's really good at English but struggles with maths, struggles with numbers. Okay, so why would you then go and do Forex? Because it's a challenge. I like a challenge. So have a look at that. So we've got the straightforward Forex indicator, and what we've got here is we've got these candles. Okay, and the first indicator you can see is the wave up and the wave down. Okay, so you can see currently we've got a wave down. So we're in a wave down. So what the indicator is saying look at potential sells, and currently it's going for a potential sell. I always say potential because you can never say it's definitely got to be one or the other. You've got to weigh up lots of different things. We've got this wave indicator. Okay, so currently the wave indicator was green. Okay, so it kind of gives us a bit more confidence to stay in a trade, and then suddenly it will turn, and then that's when potentially you want to get out of a trade. Again, additional confirmations. We've got the PSAR, which is the parabolic stop and reverse. When it's green, okay, again looking for potential buys, and when it goes red at the top, pushing down, potential sells. And also we've got a moving average. So what you can see here is a 5 moving average. I have another indicator on, which is the 51362 cloud, and I've got starting from the bottom, the 200 moving average, the 62, the 13, and the 5. And what I like to see with the moving averages is just to make sure they're in order, and also pointing in the direction of the trade. Okay, so you see a lot of moving averages on there, and as we go through it, you can see what the relationship is with price action and the moving averages, and what may or may not happen. So sometimes the 200 moving average can be a really good magnet, but they also act as support and resistance areas, so we can get an idea of what's happening, and then we can confirm that by going back and having a look at previous price action. In relation to the pivots, I always like to add the pivots on, because they're areas of interest, and the areas of interest really are just previous highs, previous lows. So this sort of area would be something of interest if the price was moving up. Okay, and so where had price been, and what potentially could happen right now? Well, price went to here, and generally they're fairly accurate, and there's been quite a few trades that I've done where they've been absolutely, as we say, to the pip, and you get used to that. But the pivots can add that extra confluence for you as well, in relation to price action and where price may well go. The last thing we've got on here is what we call the Wadarata. It's kind of 3 indicators in one, and I do like this this indicator. Number one, you've got the histogram. Let me make it a bit bigger so you can see it. There you go. You got the histogram. Okay, so this again shows you price action. When what you've got here is this this white line, which is called the explosion line, and when the histogram is going above the explosion line, that can give us additional confirmation that we're going for the buy. In this case, if you look at this, the histogram is way below the explosion line, so that's again a strong position for a sell. And also the explosion line is moving away from this blue area, which we call the dead zone. And previously you can see where price action has no volume in the market, sometimes over Christmas or sometimes heading towards the weekend, where you see no real volume in the market, and you'll see the histogram inside the dead zone, and that will keep us out. Okay, this sort of price action, you see this where the explosion lines in the dead zone, again, that would keep us out of a trade. Okay, so it can help from that perspective as well. But any any indicator that we've got going, any indicator that we've got is lagging. There's nothing that will predict the future. That comes in time, and that comes with you. Okay, so let me take these off again. So what we've got to do is look at all the evidence that we've got. Are the indicators all pointing in the same direction? So i.e. that's what confluence is. Do we have confluence? Yes, we do. Let's go and take the trade. And the trade that we take with this particular strategy, we're looking at taking 2%, all right, with a 1% stop loss. So in every case, what we were looking for is a 1 to 2 ratio. I'm not really interested in pips, although what I do is I look at certain areas. So if I'm looking at this particular price now, I'm thinking, where could price go to? Okay, well, we've got this area here, okay, and we've got this area here. But let's say if we were looking at this support 1 down at this pivot, then what I would do, I'd measure and see how far. So let me just measure it. Okay, so I'm measuring this area here. It's down to 12 pips. So potentially we could get a 1 to 2 ratio from that, depending on where we put our stop loss. Okay, and again, we've got to make sure the numbers work for us. This strategy is scalping. A lot of people don't like scalping for the simple reason is a lot of people don't really understand the numbers. And the analogy I always give is like buying and selling property. Okay, you make your profit when you buy a property. Okay, you don't make it when you sell. Okay, because if you bought at the right price, there's going to be no money in it when you come to sell. Okay, and it's exactly the same in the markets. So just bear that in mind, and really just look at it's one of these things where you've got to look at the pessimistic view when it comes to trading. You've got to be cold and closed. You don't want to be emotional when you're doing trades, because that will catch you out. Right, so 13:14, we've got 37 seconds left. So let's just have a quick look and see where we are. So all we're going to be doing, we're on the 15-minute time frame. So this is it's a bit bigger so you can see it. This is the candle we're looking at. This is the 1300 candle. This is still painting. When it's finished painting at 13:15, we're going to put these trend lines on. And essentially what we're doing, we're looking for the low next to this. Okay, so what is lower than this? Well, that's higher. Okay, so the low is there. Okay, and then the high from there is this one. Okay, so let me put this on. I'll put the magnet tool on. There we go. So I'm going to put this on here, there, because that's the high. I'm going to bring this down on top of the wick. That's it. That's it. Okay, and the low is this one here because that's lower than this, and then this then gets put onto that wick. There we go. We take off the magnet tool. We'll put this on 2 minutes, and we put the indicators back on, and we're ready to trade. Right, we'll just do that on all 4 pairs. So magnet tool on. So there's our 1300 candle. So the higher high is there. Not the actual higher high, but the one that's higher than that one is there. And the low is the green. To there. Right. 2 minute time frame. Indicators back on. Magnet tool off. And we're good to go. Okay, pound Canadian dollar. 15 minute time frame. The higher high is the one next to it, just there. We put that just on top of the wick, and the lower low is this. Look at this horrible manipulation here. We'll put that just there. Take it off, put the indicators back on. Right, good. Last one, GU. High goes onto there. Again, if you put your magnet tool on, it's going to save a lot of messing about. Just makes it a lot easier. Down onto the wick. Okay, and the lower low there, and there we go. Right, so indicators back on. Put it on a 2-minute time frame. 2-minute time frame just gives us a little bit of an early warning system. So let's go and have a mooch. Let's go and see what's gone on. EuroCAD. Okay, EuroCAD currently is below the red trend line. So potentially we're going to be looking at potential sells. We're going to wave down, and the Wadar Atar is giving us a bit of an indication that it's coming down. So again, this is lining up at the moment, but remember we're on a 2-minute time frame, so we've got like an early warning system. So the early warning system is saying, yeah, it's going down for a buy, but now look what's happening. Okay, it's maybe going our way. I still like to leave it a little bit longer just to see what's happening. We've got some strength on there, and in terms of the news, got to look out for 1400, but we might be able to get a trade in before then. But again, right now this is just a bit of a waiting game. You don't want to rush into trades. Let me just turn that off. You don't rush into trades. You just want to leave it just for that trade to start to show its hand, just long enough to give you the confidence to consider getting in for a trade. Okay, now if we look at this, the pivot is down here, so this is 15, 16 pips. The nearest kind of low, I mean this is around this area here where you got these wicks, but other than that, kind of interesting. Still a little bit undecided. So we've got 24 seconds left on this time frame, then we'll just see. We'll come back to this in a second. Euro USD. We're above the green trend line. We're hovering on the red trend line, so it's currently in resistance, and also we've got resistance with this pivot. So we're it needs to come into this area of imbalance. Let me just make sure that imbalance is still active. Let's go on to the 15-minute time frame. If that looks like it. No, that imbalance has been mitigated. Well, that's just doing its thing right now. And again, say that was the previous one we looked at, the Euro CAD, and now it's reversed. So it's good to wait. It's good to wait just to make sure what the price is going to do. In terms of, this is on the 15 still. So 2 minutes. We're obviously below the red trend line, and this is doing something fairly similar to Euro CAD. This is GBP CAD, and it's starting to retrace. But in terms of, if we was to look at this as a sell, where are we now? Let me do that again. So we've still got 20 pips. So we're still kind of okay. If it does go down to the pivot, then we've got a little bit of movement. But look, right now it's going back up for the buy. So GU, what's that GU doing? Again, very similar to GBP CAD. So what you got here, even though it's above the green trend line, we're now approaching the red trend line and also the pivot. So this is an area of resistance. So what we'd want to do, we'd want to see this break through. Okay, then we've got the green moving average, 62, and the 200, and the distance between there isn't particularly much. So if we look at this from here to here, 5.4, 9.1. So again, the numbers don't really work at the moment. So again, no panic, just go back to the last one. So you can see what's happened here. We've got this come down. It's come down for the sell. We've got a little bit of indecision. We've got more indecision because we've got a doji candle. We've got the same sort of thing now. And again, we have got news at 1400, but it's 38 minutes away. So Euro CAD. So again, from where price is now, 8.1 pips. And I mean, if you were to take 2% out of the market with 8 pips, you'd have to be doing a fairly good stop loss. And you've got to ask yourself, is my chair going to collapse? Is my next question. Is it a good trade? Is it a really good trade? Is it a great trade? Okay, or is it just an average trade where you might try and scramble to get some pips? And from there to there is exactly that. It's just a bit of a naff trade. Whereas when we come down here, what we've got is clear air. Okay, and that's exactly what we want. We want clear air. So let's just bang this on the 15 minute. Have a quick look at the 15 minute. So we've got these lows here, okay, previous price action, and what the price will do, it will find resistance here, these levels, okay, depending on what, how fast price action is going to go. It would be nice to see price come all the way down to this pivot, and at some point it may well do that. Let's just have a quick look at that. So this imbalance here, this has been mitigated. What I might do as well, whilst it's fairly quiet, I might go and put some imbalance on. Go and put that on the, in fact, let's have a look at it. Oh, you've got to love trading view, haven't you? Right. If we look at this. Again, what you can do, you can go and get the imbalance indicator and you can go and put that on, and that will change the candles a certain colour, so you can turn them white. But what it doesn't do, it doesn't turn them off once that imbalance has been mitigated. So you can see there's imbalance here, but that's been mitigated by this price action. Okay, so if you did put an indicator on, it would show up as still being active. There's a bit there. And again, the way we sort of describe imbalance is it's money that's been left on the table by the banks and the big boys. Let's see how far back we went. There we go. Yeah, well, in that case, I've done all that bugging about and it's been mitigated. Right, let's just turn it off. Okay. Yeah, I mean we've gone into this area, this bearish move, this kind of sell rally going down here. Now we've just started to go and Consolidate. We've got this sideways rotation. It's just consolidating. It's probably going to consolidate until 1400. So let's just have a quick look at what I've got. So Euro CAD. Not doing really anything of note. GBP CAD. Again, if you look at the histogram, you got the explosion line. It's moving away from the dead zone, but the histogram is still a little bit stubby. Okay, it's not really showing much, and it's not really doing a huge amount at the moment. If we were to get into a trade, I mean, you know, we've had all this kind of indecision, and we've got a slow, steady move down. We've got a wave down. We've got the PSAR flip. We've got the 5, the 13, the 62, and the 200. They're in the right order. So, apart from say the Wad Arata, we've got positive moves to the downside. But the thing is, if we were to take this, if we go into there, we're going to go short position. We go to there, okay, and up to here is where these lines here are put here by our indicator, and this indicates potential stop loss areas, okay, and we are 10 pips is not going to give us a 1 to 2. Ideally what I'd want is a 1 to 2 ratio all the way down to this pivot, okay, and we're not going to do that because these numbers ain't working. I mean, something like 7 pips is ideal, okay, but by the same token, we're still, you know, 1 to 2 brings us to here, okay. So really, yeah, these numbers don't really work. I didn't want to get in here because, you know, obviously you've got an indecision candle, and it's been sort of indecisive. It still is a little bit indecisive. It's showing a bit more strength now, okay, as by the Wad Arata, and the explosion line is moving away, but it's still a bit naff. It's still an average trade, but we'll leave that on. Just move that across. Right, GBP USD. So in there, potentially you could have got in there, but it's not. If you got in at the top, or if you got in around there, you're looking at, yeah, potentially 11 pips of profit to the pivot. But you see what you've got here. You got this initial push to the downside, then an indecision candle. So we kind of wait. Then you get a reversal all the way up to where the red trend line is. Remember, the red trend line is going to be resistance, and that's what it did. It offered resistance and then pushed back. So any of these lines, price is either going to bounce or break. Then we got another indecision candle. Then we got the candle which pushed it down, and indecision. So we're kind of getting indecision, bit of a push, indecision, bit of a push, indecision, and it might well push down to the pivot. But it's just rubbish. You know, it doesn't really. This isn't really a move that would inspire confidence for anybody. Okay, it's more of a gamble, if anything. You know, you're thinking, well, what's price going to do? Well, price. The sensible thing to do is to go, just stay out of it. Okay, because the WADR is showing, again, it's low volume, and it's probably low volume because, you know, we've got this news coming up at 1400. Right, let's go back on the Euro CAD, see what that's doing. It's doing pretty much the same kind of thing. We're in a wave down, okay. The PSAR, see how the PSAR started up here, and it was a fair distance away from the candle. Then it starts to get a bit closer, a bit closer, a bit closer, and now see how close it is, look. And what's going to happen is when that price goes up and touches that piece out, that dot, okay, the dot is going to flip underneath and it'll be green, okay. So that loses our confluence. There you go, it's just flipped, look. So the other thing, we even though we had confluence with everything lining up, it's weak, okay. The confluence is weak, and this is what you want to be looking at. So the Wadarata was weak, okay. The explosion line is now moving back into towards the dead zone. Obviously we've got the PSAR flip, and it's kind of breaking down, and it didn't really set up. Even though it came below the red trend line, it was still a bit, you know, green, red, 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 green, indecision, green, red, you know. So we just stay out, okay. So what's this one? This is Euro USD. Did we look at this one, or have we missed this one? So we came below the trend line, and we've gone down quite nicely. Must have missed this one. So let's have a quick look on the 15-minute. So we could see price go down to these sorts of levels, sort of around here. Then we've got this pivot here, which if you see what price did, okay, so there's the previous pivot, which is kind of an area of interest, and then the lower low from there, we'll take it to the body around, sort of around here. Come on, trading view, for God's sake. There we go. So something like that would be your sort of areas of interest. You know, if it continues to go to the downside. So we'll go back on the 2 minutes. And what you'll find because that I've put that on as an area of interest, you'll find that price may well go down to there, and it's either going to bounce or break. The likelihood is it's going to bounce back up, because you can see price is starting to think about going back up for the buy. We'll see what happens with that. GBP CAD. Yeah, you can see how rubbish that was to start with, and how useless that stop loss was, because the numbers didn't work from the start. So ideally, you'd want your stop loss to be up there, but even more ideally, you'd want to be in a good position where you go, the price action is good, it's positive price action, this is going to be a good trade, let's get in it. And that hasn't happened at all yet. But again, looking at where our stop loss should have been up here, we'd still have been in this trade, although just hanging on, you know, by the skin of the teeth. So that's Euro CAD, Euro USD, which again, let's just see how far this comes down. It'll be interesting to see if it does just touch that area of interest before retracing. Again, these areas of interest, you put them on manually, so it's not an exact science, nor is anything with trading. Nothing's ever an exact science. But the more you put them on, the more you get used to it, the more accurate you'll get. And that's what I found. You know, I found that, you know, the more you put them on. When I first started doing areas of interest, it was like, okay, you know, where would that be conservatively, and where is price likely to go? And pretty much you can get fairly, I mean, that's how far is that? You know, that's pretty much within, you know, within pipettes between there and there, okay, before it starts to retrace. Right, GP CAD. So it's starting to come back again, but it's not a trade that we'd be interested in at all. In fact, I'm going to take this off. In disgust of the markets, because yet again we've got no volume. we may see volume, you know, do something at 1400, and that'll be good. So GU, what's that doing? Okay, it's coming down to the pivot in the same, as I always say, the pivot, just as this is an area of interest, okay, the pivot is also an area of interest, and you can see how very similar it's kind of how near price action has gone to that pivot, and that's what you find is the more you get used to it, and what you want to be doing is if your pivot is your take profit level, always be mindful of the fact that it won't reach it or may not reach it. Okay, so always be conservative, but make sure. So for example, if we're going to go short, I don't know, anywhere, just put it anyway, don't really matter. Okay, so, and we were to go for a 1 to 2. There's a 1 to 2, okay, typical 1 to 2, and our take profit would want to be above the pivot. Okay, never think, okay, well there's the pivot, put the take profit on the pivot, will be good. Okay, no, don't do that, because if you walk away from the trade, I mean, obviously if you're scalping, the likelihood is you're going to be babysitting the trade anyway. It's only longer term trades where we tend to walk away, but you know, if you were to walk away from that, you would get almost within take profit, and then it will start to retrace, and then you could even lose the trade, having, you know, almost won the trade. So always go, you know, conservative, and always look for your risk to reward 1 to 2. Okay. Yeah, so that started to retrace. May well come back, but you know, we need plenty of oh, excuse me, up there. We need the legs. Okay, we need legs. We need the numbers. The numbers need to work. And if they don't work, then don't get them a trade. It's as simple as that. Don't say, well, it's okay, you know, I'm in a trade, it's fine, everything's going to be okay. You know, I've got a trade here where there's my take profit, but I've only got a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Okay, but it's okay because price action looks like, oh, it's gone to stop loss. Okay, well, it's okay, it's only 1%. And what you look at, if you look at the numbers, okay, you can do it. If you win 50% of your trade, which makes you a really poor trader, okay, but if you're doing a 1-to-2 ratio, you're going to be on profit. If you're going to do 1-to-1 ratio, you're going to be breaking even or into loss. You know, so you've got to be mindful of the fact that the numbers have got to work. They have to work. Okay. Right, Euro CAD. It's a very dull session, this. I do apologise. I thought it's Friday. We've got a little bit of news coming up. News is in 20 minutes, so we might see some price action on the US side of things. Yeah, dull. So if we have a look at what we've got here. So even from this area here down to the bottom there, we've only got 10 pips of movement. And it's all right saying, well, technically, as far as the strategy is concerned, you could have won that one. Well, we don't deal in technicals. We deal in reality. And the reality was that the margins are just too narrow to be bothered with. You know, what you want is something that is going to, if you look at some of the price action, I mean, it's all pretty choppy, isn't it? Something like this, okay, where you get a nice bit of price action. So up here, okay, where's your targets? Well, you look at the moving averages. Moving averages all in line, beautiful. 200 moving average acting like a little magnet straight onto there. Okay, wave down, and we've got lots of volume. It's a lot easier. What time is this? This is yesterday. 17:42. Yesterday evening. So what I tend to do with this strategy is that I'll record an hour. I'll show you what I do. And sometimes these trades and all these trend lines, they still work up until the early evening. Okay, so you can still be taking trades into the early evening. So just set some alerts. Okay, if you get something like the where are we now? Wherever we were. Okay, but if you get an area of consolidation, go and put a parallel channel on, set an alert. When your alert goes off, come back and reassess. You don't have to be constantly looking at your charts all day. Okay, just set your alerts off. So on this, we're currently in a wave down. Okay, peace hour has flipped, so we haven't got the congruency. The Wadarata is showing us like we're still in the dead zone, so there's no real volume, which means just leave it for a bit. GBP CAD, got the wave up. We've got a little bit more movement here on the Wadar. Okay, we've got the PSAR flip. Okay, however, to fulfill the terms of the strategy, we need to be above the green trend line. Okay, so we're still waiting for that. We've also got this area, this 62 moving average, which is going to offer resistance. So what you'll find is wherever you get a line like this, okay, or this area here particularly, I mean, crikey, you've got the green trend line, you've got the pivot, and you've also got the 200 moving average. That's a big area of resistance, whereas this area is still an area of resistance. Okay, so price will either bounce or break, and do we know what's going to happen? Not really. It looks like it's bouncing back off. Okay, but in terms of the pippage, 4 pips to there. Okay, by the time you look at broker spread, a pip and a bit, maybe 2 pips. Okay, you're looking at taking half. He never in a million years going to get you 2% on that, unless you've got a really crazy stop loss, which is just gambling. So again, we just wait. Euro USD, it's moved a bit. Okay, that bit of a move from there down, what, 7 pips? Again, not worth getting in. And right now it looks like we've got a little bit of sideways movement. But again, this is a Euro US, so in 15 minutes we'll see what's going to happen. That's as far as. So currently now we've got the pivot, which is acting as resistance. Well, it's acting as resistance for the buy. Okay, so and of course this trend line is going to be resistance. So there's a lot of resistance in here. If it comes down past here, okay, that this pivot can act as support. But right now it's resistance. Wadarata, again, the explosion line has come back to the dead zone. The price doesn't know what it wants to do. Let's look at Euro CAD. On Euro CAD. Euro US. Consolidation. Let's just see how far this goes. Interesting to see how far. If this goes down, it's a bit of a move then. Okay. Even though look at the Wadar, it's just showing us it's in the dead zone, so there's no volume, but see that area of interest was based on this price action here, okay, on the 15 minute when we looked at that. So again, you know, it's so important to look left and find out what's going on. Okay, let's see, look. So again, we've got touches all the way across, touches down to there, touches down to there. Okay, so again, you can get all I do is put a line on and then just see how it lines up. Does it line up? Oh, it lines up there, look. You know, see where it lines up. And the more you do, the more you'll get used to. Right, that's on a nice run now. That's on its way now. So we've got the wave down. Got the wave down. We've got the PSAR flip. We've got the explosion line moving away from the dead zone. We've got the histogram showing us a bit of volume. And again, we could possibly see, when you've got price action like this, which is quite positive, or a bit more positive, bearing in mind it's Euro US. So we've got 10 minutes to the news. I know the news isn't high impact, but it's still medium impact. Okay, and what potentially you could be seeing here is prices coming down, where people put their stop losses. Retail traders put their stop losses up here, okay, or here. Okay, when the news kicks in, they'll push the price up to take out these stop losses and continue the price down. So now isn't the best time to get into a trade because it's too near the news. But we'll stay on for the next 10 minutes to see what does happen, because it'll be interesting to see. Usually it's a little bit more predictable with high impact news because we can see what's going to happen with, you know, we know full well people are in this for a sell because the price is going for sells, and there will be stop losses up here. Okay, and that's where the money is. Okay, that's where the liquidity is. And essentially, a stop loss for the banks, because the banks can see the stop losses, is a potential money grab for them, and they do it all the time. Right, so I can scoot through. Euro CAD, nothing really happening. GBP CAD will be the same. Yeah, same, nothing really much happening. Kind of a little bit sideways. And the GU, okay, is doing the same as CAD USD. So Euro USD. Euro USD and GBP USD doing very similar things. And I say 9 minutes time, we'll see if this price is going to go up and then down. Right, back in a sec. Okay, so we're back, just a bit of a break there. So yeah, 13:58, we've got 2 minutes until the news. And if we look at the US pairs, the Euro US, a little bit of a move to the downside, a bit of a push up. So we'll see what happens at 13:58, but currently, as you can see from there, zero volume at the moment. With that price, the histogram's in the dead zone. And also GU is doing kind of a similar sort of thing. It's slightly better on the volume, but at the same time it's still hovering around this area here of the pivot. So we'll see what happens when the news kicks in. The other two pairs, the Euro CAD, pretty much sideways consolidation up to at the moment. That might change when the news kicks in for the US, and then also GBP CAD, again pretty much carbon copy of the Euro. So what are we on now? We're on right, a minute to go, so it might bring some interesting developments in with the news, but like I say, it's only low and medium impact. Usually it's Friday where you get the high impact news, and definitely on non-farm payroll where you get some nice volatility. Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking price will probably, during the news, it'll probably go back up a little bit. Right, what are we on? 10 seconds. Let's have a see. As uneventful as the whole session, really. As uneventful as the whole session. Let's have a look at GBP. Has that done anything? No, that's done nothing. Absolutely nothing. Well, it's still continuing to the downside, so there we go. So this Euro US really has sort of followed slightly better on the strategy. Okay, so we've got the pivot here, and we've got this move to the downside. Then we had this. So this candle here possibly could have got in on that one. Okay, if we'd have got in on that one, okay, it would have been in and then into a bit of drawdown, and then down here, down for what, 13 pips. So it's average. We could have made a 1 to 2 on that, but again, it was just one of those days. Look, where you look at this and you go, well, okay, it's not too bad, but it's kind of average, and you can see sort of how these areas of interest can kind of help you. So quick look at the rest. Euro CAD still consolidating. Doesn't really do anything. Look, it's just pretty much. I mean, we've got a bit of movement here. Okay, this is about 10 pips of movement from around there. Yeah, 10. But other than that, nothing much. Euro USD we've been looking at. GBP CAD again very similar. About 10 pips of movement from there, and then pretty much sideways. And GU again, we've been looking at this, so yeah, we could have maybe done okay with GU as well, although it was this indecision that I didn't like. This indecision, you know what I mean, so it wasn't a great trade. In fact, it's been a really poor trading day altogether, but we haven't lost anything, and we've learned a bit, so there we go. Anyway, if you got some value from this, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, and there's plenty more videos like this on the channel. Well, obviously not like this, probably slightly more interesting ones than this. And also, as I said, if you want to get access to the mini course, and also if you want to join us in the community, go and click the description below, have a look at those links, and any questions you've got, just reach out to me in the usual way. All right, we'll speak soon. Bye for now.